Welcome to Newsbeacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. For decades, the skies have been dominated by Boeing and Airbus, two giants whose aircraft have become synonymous with global air travel. Their duopoly has shaped the very fabric of commercial aviation, setting the standards for safety, technology, and international reach. Now China is making its boldest move yet with the C919 passenger jet, a homegrown aircraft that represents years of ambition, investment, and national pride. Developed by state-owned COMAC, the C919 is designed to serve China's booming domestic market and reduce reliance on foreign aircraft. The project has mobilized thousands of engineers and technicians, all working toward a single goal: to create a jet that can stand shoulder to shoulder with the best in the world. The jet is a centerpiece of the Made in China 2025 strategy, symbolizing the nation's technological ambitions. It's not just about building a plane, it's about proving that China can innovate at the highest levels of aerospace engineering. China is projected to become the world's largest aviation market, with a demand for nearly 10,000 new planes by 2044. This explosive growth is fueled by a rising middle class, expanding cities, and a government eager to connect its people and economy. By building the C919, China aims to capture a significant share of this market and foster a homegrown aerospace ecosystem. The hope is to inspire a new generation of engineers and create thousands of high-tech jobs. The C919 entered commercial service in 2023, but rollout has been slow. Only about 20 jets are in service as of late 2025. Each delivery is closely watched, as airlines and passengers alike look for signs of reliability and performance. Scaling up production is proving difficult, complicated by global politics and supply chain vulnerabilities. Many key components still come from abroad, making the program sensitive to international tensions and export controls. The ultimate goal: international certification and global sales, breaking the Western duopoly. COMAC dreams of seeing the C919 flying in airports from Asia to Europe and beyond. But without FAA or ASA certification, the C919's reach is limited to China for now. Gaining approval from these regulators is a complex, lengthy process, and a major hurdle for global expansion. The jet's journey is a test of China's ability to compete in the world's most advanced industries. Every flight, every test, and every delivery is a step toward technological self-reliance. The stakes are high, not just for aviation, but for China's place in the global economy. The C919 is more than a plane. It's a symbol of a nation's determination to soar on its own wings. The C919 may be a symbol of Chinese ambition, but it's built on a foundation of Western technology. While assembled in China, its most vital systems, avionics, landing gear, and especially engines, come from American and European suppliers. The LEAP 1C engine, made by a GE Safran joint venture, is the jet's technological heart. Without it, the C919 is grounded. This reliance was a calculated shortcut, using proven Western components, sped up development, and ensured safety standards. But it also left China's flagship jet vulnerable to foreign control. Every C919 is a product of both Chinese manufacturing and Western innovation. As US-China tensions rise, this interdependence has become a glaring strategic weakness. The C919 story is not just about ambition, it's about the risks of global supply chains. The stage was set for confrontation. In May 2025, US-China tensions erupted into a new front: aviation. What had once been a realm of global cooperation and shared progress suddenly became a battleground for technological dominance and national security. The world watched as the skies, once open and interconnected, became a stage for high-stakes rivalry. The US imposed sweeping export controls, abruptly suspending sales of the LEAP 1C engine to China. This engine, a critical component for China's ambitious C919 jet, was now out of reach, leaving Chinese aviation plans in limbo. COMAC's assembly line stalled overnight. No engines, no jets. The hum of progress was replaced by silence, as workers and engineers faced an uncertain future. The move was a stark reminder of American leverage over China's aviation ambitions. Decades of technological dependence were laid bare, and the balance of power was unmistakable. Production targets were missed, and the future of the C919 was thrown into doubt. Hopes for a homegrown rival to Boeing and Airbus faded, at least for the moment. For China, this was more than an economic blow, it was a challenge to national pride. The dream of technological self-reliance was shaken, and the nation's resolve was put to the test. US companies like GE were caught in the crossfire, risking lucrative business in China. The ripple effects spread through boardrooms and factories on both sides of the Pacific. The government cited national security, but the message was clear. The US could halt China's progress at any moment. The world's supply chains, once taken for granted, were now weapons in a global contest. The ban was lifted 2 months later, but the damage was done. Trust had been eroded, and the lesson was not lost on China's leaders or its engineers. The C919's vulnerability was exposed for all to see. The world realized just how fragile global ambitions could be in the face of geopolitical rivalry. China's dream of aviation independence was now hostage to geopolitics. The path forward would demand new strategies, innovation, and perhaps, a reimagining of global partnerships. The tech war had reached the skies, and the world was watching to see who would soar, and who would be grounded. In a bold countermove, China struck back, wielding its own powerful weapon, rare earth elements, the hidden backbone of modern technology. In May 2025, Beijing announced strict new restrictions on exports of rare earth magnets, materials essential for everything from electric vehicles and wind turbines to smartphones and fighter jets. With nearly 90% of global rare earth refining under its control, China holds a near monopoly, giving it a chokehold on critical supply chains and industries worldwide. The move was a calculated strike at US manufacturing's most vulnerable points, threatening to disrupt the flow of parts for cars, aircraft, renewable energy, and advanced defense systems. Rare earths aren't actually rare in the Earth's crust, but processing them is dirty, expensive, and environmentally hazardous, something China has spent decades perfecting while other nations lagged behind. The new restrictions were a warning shot, not a full embargo, but they sent shockwaves through American industry, exposing just how dependent the US had become on Chinese supply. The message was clear. Supply chain warfare is a two-way street, and both sides have leverage to wield. The C919 crisis had now escalated into a broader, high-stakes trade conflict over the very building blocks of modern technology, with rare earths at the center. Both sides now understood the risks of mutual dependence, and the fragility of the global system they had built together. The era of easy globalization, where goods and resources flowed freely, was suddenly over. The world's most advanced industries, semiconductors, aerospace, green energy, were now battlegrounds in a new kind of economic war. The stakes had never been higher, and the outcome would shape the future of global power for years to come. The sanctions war quickly hit the real economy. In the US, Ford was forced to halt production at a major plant. No rare earth magnets, no cars. The shutdown exposed just how dependent American industry is on Chinese materials. Procurement managers scrambled for alternatives, but found few options outside China. Meanwhile, in China, COMAC's jet deliveries fell far behind schedule due to the engine ban. Western aerospace suppliers like GE and Honeywell faced uncertainty, caught between two governments. The crisis damaged trust and forced companies to rethink their global strategies. China accelerated efforts to replace foreign suppliers, threatening Western firms' future in the market. The fallout was a wake-up call. Supply chain security is now a top priority. The era of business as usual was over. The engine crisis exposed China's Achilles heel dependence on the US-designed LEAP-1C. China has invested heavily in developing its own jet engine, the CJ1000A, but progress is slow. Building a reliable, efficient engine is a monumental challenge, one that took Western firms decades to master. As of late 2025, the CJ1000A is still in testing, years from commercial use. Until it's ready, the C919 remains tethered to foreign technology and vulnerable to sanctions. The race for engine independence is now urgent, driven by national pride and necessity. For China, true aviation sovereignty remains just out of reach. China's rare earth restrictions jolted Washington into action. The US launched a crash effort to rebuild its own rare earth supply chain, from mining to magnets. In October 2025, a new refinery opened in New Hampshire, marking a step toward domestic production. The goal: secure critical materials for defense and industry, and break China's monopoly. The initial output is small, but it's a start. National security is the driving force. Keeping the military supplied is the top priority. The race for resources is expensive and slow, but now it's a national imperative. The US is determined to never be caught off guard again. By late 2025, the immediate crisis had eased, but the damage lingered. Engine exports resumed, and China held back on further rare earth restrictions. The C919 program, however, faces a tougher road. Production delays and regulatory barriers remain. Airbus is expanding its presence in China, opening new assembly lines to compete directly with the C919. US aerospace firms are wary, balancing business interest with government policy. Both sides are reassessing risks and diversifying supply chains. The C919 will likely dominate China's domestic market, but global ambitions are uncertain. The US and its allies are working to shore up their own vulnerabilities. The skies are calm for now, but the turbulence of 2020 changed the industry forever. The uneasy truce masks deeper, unresolved tensions. The next crisis may be just over the horizon. The C919 crisis marked a turning point in global tech rivalry. Aviation, once a symbol of cooperation, is now a front line in US-China competition. The world is splitting into two tech spheres, one led by the US, the other by China. The push for self-reliance will define the next decade. With both sides racing to master critical technologies, supply chains will become more resilient, but also more fragmented and costly. The C919's journey is about more than one jet. It's about who sets the rules for the 21st century economy. The events of 2025 suggest a future shaped by rivalry, not partnership. The age of turbulence in the skies has just begun.